Well, good afternoon, everybody. I know you just saw me, but I'm back again. This is Dr. Jacqueline King, CEO and founder of Black Women Empowered. And we bring exciting people to you, as you know, doing exciting things. And today, again, will not disappoint you. I have Miss Shannon Malkin Daniels, and she is so amazing. I mean, she is what is, as we say, the bomb.com. How you doing, Miss Shannon?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing today?
I am doing good. Full
Thanks
day,
for
but we're
having
glad.
me.
Yes, we're so glad to have you. Shannon has done a lot of stuff. So Shannon, give them a little bit of your background, and then we're going to get right into this amazing book that you have.
All right. Well, I'll give the short synopsis of my long background. I come from I'm a communication nerd at heart. I have a master's in interpersonal communication, and I'm one of those weirdos that loves public speaking. And I coach people on how to overcome fear and anxiety with public speaking. And I also run a communication-based technology called encaptiv, which is for virtual, hybrid, and in-person events, and is meant to help improve audience engagement and really make meaningful connections. And I got there through a bit of a windy path of being in corporate America, climbing that ladder. And I ran sales and marketing teams primarily, had a 3-year stint in project management. And then I went out on my own as a health and life coach for a little while. And while I love helping people, I realized that wasn't my purpose in life. My purpose in life is still to help people and to help them unlock their potential and really be better and be happier and healthier in life, just not in that arena. So I continued to do that through my communication coaching as well as through Encaptive. And that's the 30-second version of all of that.
Well, that's a good segue into what our conversation is going to be about. So most of you who have followed BWE over the years, 10 years in November, we've been empowering people through encouragement and motivation and all of that. And so Shannon and I met through a mutual friend, and she actually invited me to be a speaker on her recent conference. Talk a little bit about the conference.
Yeah, so I teamed up with one of my fabulous friends and someone I've been collaborating with for quite a while now, Zeth Zan. If you have listeners out there, if you've met her, she is just a wonderful ball of energy. But we knew we wanted to do something to put on an event to help women globally. And so we came up with the idea for SOW Victory Fest. So being two meanings, sowing new seeds, planting the seeds for growth. And then also it's an acronym for strong, optimistic women. And so we had this global event, 87 speakers from 10 different countries, and we were blessed to have Dr. King come and speak to us.
I was excited to be able to and honored that you would invite me. So this beautiful young lady wrote this book, and she sent me a copy called "Water Yourself," and it just, I mean, it. I can't put it down. It's so on time because everyone knows that with the pandemic and even just life as women, we go through so much on a daily basis that a lot of times we take care of everybody except for ourselves. Would you agree, Shannon?
So true. Very true.
Yeah. And so when I saw this, I said, water yourself. And it says a practical guide to weed out the bad and get more good and live your dreams. How many women struggle with that? Because like I said, you're busy being a mother, a wife, an employee, this and a that. And at the end of the day, most of the time you are tired.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have time to water yourself or take care of yourself. And then you got to get up the next day and repeat, right?
Mm-hmm. Wash, rinse, repeat.
What
Absolutely.
exactly. So that's why I thought that this book would be great for our audience to hear a little bit about. First of all, what made you come up with this title?
It's kind of interesting. When I was in my corporate career, I was doing the health coaching on the side for a year and a half before I left to go do that as a true business and what I was going to focus full time on. And I started writing this book. It was really inspired by one of my clients at the time, who was just constantly doing everything for everybody else. She was not coming up for air. She was overwhelmed. She was unhappy. She couldn't just figure it out. And she was leaving no time for herself, and just everything about herself, her health, her wealth, her happiness, her goals, her dreams, they were just falling to the wayside. And so I asked her in one of our sessions, I just had this idea, like, if you see this plant over here, what happens if you do not water this plant? You will start to see it wilt and wither and die, right? The problem is we can't see that happening to ourselves until it's too late. And so you need to think about yourself like that plant. And you have to constantly give yourself water and give yourself nutrients and give yourself sunshine so that you can grow as a human being and be healthy and happy and stable. And that's both emotionally, physically, mentally. There's a lot of aspects there. And so I sat down and I really started putting this idea together, and I knew I wanted to write a book, and I started to see this is a trend amongst other clients, amongst myself, amongst friends and family. And so I really had it in my heart to say, I want to write something that's really going to help people try to find the light and the positivity in their lives. And as I was writing it, I realized I was struggling to get it all out. And I looked at it and said, I'm not following my own advice. This is why I'm struggling to write this book, because I am not following my own advice. And so I quit my job. And when I'll never forget when I told the CEO I was leaving, he's like, oh, come up, let's chat in my office. And I went and sat in his office and we were chatting. And he's like, so why are you leaving? And I said, I'm leaving to write a book. And he's like, you don't have another job lined up? I was like, no, I'm leaving to write a book. Wait, you don't have a job? It's like, no, this is in my heart. I have to do this. I have to help people. And so I followed my own advice. I left the job. It was hard. It was a big leap of faith, but there were signs and signals that the universe and God were sending me. I was sitting in church one Sunday, and the message was, you can't walk on water if you don't step out of the boat. And I was that just really hit me. And I left it. And I remember coming home with my husband saying, I got to walk on water. I got to step out of the boat so I can walk on water. And he was like, all right, I love you. I believe in you. So I support you in this. And that's what I did. There was a lot of things really that the universe kept telling me this was what I needed to do.
I love that. And I want to give a couple of shout outs. Zeph is on. Hey, Zeph. Sending love. I believe Melvina is my friend in Greensboro, but I can't tell right now. But that's my former realtor. If it's her, hey Mel, if that's you, I can't tell. But anyway, yes. So walk on water. Yes, Zeph. That's definitely. So that's interesting that you would say that, because I can share a little something about me and BWE. God gave me this vision while I was working. And I believe in my spirit, he was saying, leave your job and walk and step out on faith. And I was like, I'm not leaving my job. So guess what? He won. Is that a surprise?
No.
Surprise. So I got hurt on the job and they fired me.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So he's like, I told you to leave, didn't I?
So you're not gonna listen? I'm gonna make you listen.
Okay, yeah. This is how this is going. I'm gonna get the final say. But it really is a faith walk, and many of us struggle with that. We say that we have faith when things are really good. And then when the trial comes, the faith kind of goes out the window. Would you agree?
Yeah. Or it's the opposite too, where there's no faith and all of a sudden the trial comes and you're down on your hands and knees praying, looking for the faith.
Yes. So I can relate to that story, but I I absolutely love. So we're going to go through some of, and you're going to tell us a little bit. And you can, first of all, before we do that, tell them how they can get the book.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. I can actually drop a link in the
Yep.
chat
Do
if
that.
you all would like. And if you're a Kindle Unlimited subscriber, you can get it on Kindle Unlimited for free as well.
And you can also, if you're not Kindle Unlimited, you should be able to buy the Kindle version still, right? It shouldn't be that much.
Yep, you should be able to buy the Kindle version. I think it's $2.99 for the Kindle version, and if you want the paperback, it's $14.95.
Okay. So the birth of watering, what does that, what, give us a little tidbit of what's in that.
So that's really the backstory of how I came up with the watering system. What I was telling you about
About your
earlier,
girlfriend. And I
the
read
woman
that.
that I was working with, it just wasn't, she was putting the oxygen mask on everybody but herself, and she ran out of oxygen. And that was really what inspired the watering system, right? And that's how it came into being. So this story I told about her is really what sparked that idea and that interest. And then it kind of, I said, all right, it can't just be about watering yourself. Well, how do we look at this from a more holistic picture? And that's where I started looking at, I love gardening. I don't have a whole lot of space to garden, but I love planting beautiful things in the spring. I have a deck garden and a little bit out front of my condo. And I started to look at this and go, there's so many analogies here to life and plants and gardening and sunlight that I just wanted to pull all that in. And I felt like it was something that people could really understand and attribute back to their own lives.
What is basking in the sun? Just give a couple of tips on how you would do that.
Yeah, so just like a plant needs sun to grow and survive, we need sun. And I look at sun in our personal lives as sunshine in our personal lives as the light that comes to us. And that can be from your friends, your family members. It's the positive things in your life. It could come from
Mm.
your community, from church, from whatever it is that brings you light and brings you happiness. That's basking in the sun. Do more of that. Go lay out in the sun, get more of it, spend more time with friends, with family, join things within your community, volunteer, go spend that time at church, whatever it may be that brings you happiness. That is basking in the sunshine.
Oh, I love that. I love that. For our listeners, please share the broadcast and tell us where you're tuning in from. Um, so weed your garden. This ought to be a good one.
So in a garden, weeds grow, right? And we go in there and we pull them out and pluck them out. And some of them, they just keep coming back, or some of them we just can't get rid of, right? We have weeds in our own life. And those are the things that are taking up all of our time, sucking all of energy, taking our valuable nutrients from us. And some of those weeds we can pull and pluck. We just haven't done so. And others, they may be people that are ingrained in our lives, like coworkers or family members, right? Or, well, weeds really, let's not think about as people. Let's think about as more tasks. They're everyday things we have to do.
Oh, they can be people too.
Well, I look at people more.
Let's just be real.
I look at people more as pests and parasites, which we'll
Okay.
get to that. But your weeds are really more the things in your life, like the
Okay.
dishes and the laundry and the chores and work and all of that. Some of those weeds we can pull, some of them we can't. So when we're talking about weeding our own garden, it's pulling those weeds, those tasks, those daily things that we don't really need to be doing. You got to check yourself, right? Is this a must do, or is this a nice to do kind of thing? Pull out all those things that are not must do's to free up more time for yourself, to get more valuable time, to suck up those nutrients from the soil, right? And the ones you can't pull, learn how to redirect their growth so they're not strangling you.
Oh, I like that. Savor life's seasons. What does that mean?
Yes, just like there's seasons, spring, summer, winter, fall, we have seasons in our life that we experience. And I look at winter as those seasons where we're having a hard time, right? COVID put a winter over all of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we all have seasons. Whether it's medical issues or losing a loved one or losing your job or something happening to you that's really, really negative or has a massive impact on your life. Think of that as like a winter season. Spring is a time of rebirth and growth, right? And in the outdoors. So spring is a time for us as well as rebirth and growth. So looking for opportunities to plant those seeds, sow those seeds, get them ready to grow so that summer, the time when you're really flourishing, you've already planted those seeds in your springtime so you can flourish during that summer period. So summer is like your height, everything's going well, you're loving life, you're feeling good. And then fall is kind of like things are moving along. They're not bad, they're not good, you're happy. They're kind of status quo, but that gives you time to kind of reflect and think on your life and how can you start to plan for spring and start sowing so that you have another summer.
Kind of like spring cleaning.
Yeah.
All right. So practice regular maintenance. Now I know this has got to be a good one.
Yeah, just like with your garden, you can't just plant it and walk away, right? You got to do all these things. You got to pull the weeds. You've got to water the plants. You've got to get sunshine. You've got to maybe trim that tree back so more sun can grow on the, you have to do those things in your life too. And it's not a one and done. You don't just pull a weed and it's done. And you don't just get sunshine once and it's done. Regular maintenance is making sure that you're building this into your everyday life and making it part of your everyday life so that you can have more springs and summers versus winter times.
Great. For all of our listeners, I ask again that you share the broadcast. This also will be on our podcast, so you'll be able to go to BWE Queen's Corners and listen to it over and over as well. Okay, happily ever after? What does that mean?
So this is really me summing up how, the story went for the woman who I was talking about in the beginning of the book, and also how you can experience your happily ever after if you practice these things and not only do them once, but practice that regular maintenance, that you can have a happier, healthier life and more abundance in your life in general.
So I like the fact that you made it where you can have a watering log and a growth tractor and a priority checklist and a weeds checklist and a mindset action plan. Talk about those.
Yeah. So there's workbook pages in the book that you can use to help prioritize those must-dos, nice-to-dos, and everything in between. So you can start to figure out what can I be weeding out of my life? And then looking at what brings you sunshine. I suggest that you have 2 journals, not just one, but 2. There's scientific proof in the psychology universe that talks about the 3 good things. So jotting down 3 good things that you've experienced every day, because it's really easy to let the bad overtake the good. So I suggest that instead of just journaling in one place, you keep a weeds journal. And this is where you put all of the stuff you just need to vent about and get out and all the bad stuff, or not necessarily bad, just the status quo kind of stuff too. And then the sunshine journal, where you keep all of the positive things and people and happy moments in your life so that when you are having a rough day, you can go back and look at that. And then some of these other workbook pages help you to establish goals and actionable intentions and things that are really going to help you not only read this, but take it and put it into practice in an easy way.
So, what is a mindset action plan?
So a mindset action plan is really about reflecting on your current mindset and looking at how am I thinking about things and how am I feeling about things, and should that be the right way to be thinking about it, and then laying out ways that you can start to shift your mindset so you can start thinking more positively, looking at more of the good in your life, because people tend to, let's be honest, the bad outweighs the good. You stub your toe in the morning, it doesn't matter how many good things happen. If you stubbed your toe and spilled your coffee on yourself, that's going to be the memory for the day, right? And that's because our bodies are naturally hardwired with hormones that go into fight or flight mode when we feel like we're in danger, and our body gets flooded with that and it overwhelms us and it has a much higher impact. And so you have to do 3 to 5 positive things to offset 1 negative in your mindset. So 5 positive thoughts for every 1 negative thought. So it's about finding ways to shift your mindset more towards the positive, not so that you can ignore the bad that's in your life. You have to recognize that, and that is part of who we are as humans. It's part of the human condition, but so that you can start to see the good in your life, because a lot of times the good gets overshadowed by those negative moments. So it's about shifting your mindset to start paying attention to those good things.
So I see this book as a really a tool to help. I mean, I'm a big component of getting help when you really need for mental wellness.
Mhm.
But I see this as a tool, an instrument that you can use in having a healthy mental state. Would you agree?
Yeah, and I will preface this by saying I am not a clinical psychologist. I
Right.
do not have a degree in psychology. But yes, I really wrote this as a way to help everyday people find ways to improve their lives in general, improve their outlook, and get more positivity, just feel more overall well and happy in general.
Hmm. Yeah, because we have a psychologist that's a contributor. She comes on every Tuesday, Dr. Nikisha Hammond, and she does mental health moment for us. So yeah, we do have a professional, but there are things that you can do in addition to, if you have to consult a
Yes.
psychiatrist or a psychologist, there are things that you can do on your own, right?
Yes, absolutely. There's certainly things that you can be doing on your own to help your mental health and wellness. And this is just one way that you can start to do that is by looking at all these facets of your life. Try to get more of that sunshine, making sure you're watering yourself so that you're not wilting up, and then finding ways to weed out those bad things or those things that are just sapping your energy and making you unhappy. So yeah, this is definitely can be used as an ancillary thing, but I would say it doesn't substitute, but it can be added to.
Great. Well, I think that it's great. Again, the name of the book is Water Yourself. I don't know. I have a glare. I don't know if you can see it, but you can get it on Amazon. I think you put it in the chat, right? Because
Hmm.
we are actually live on 5 Facebook pages. We're on live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. So if you missed it, you can go back, and we will re-air this later on this evening for those who were at work and want to look at it again. But Shannon, you are amazing. I am so glad that we are connected.
Thank
You're a beautiful queen,
you.
and you let your light shine, and as well as encourage others to let their light shine too. So, as far as I'm concerned, you're a blessing to the body of Christ, which you know I'm a Christian. So, I consider you a blessing. Thank you so much for your time today. Let the people know how they can follow you on social media or anything that you want to share.
Yes, and first of all, thank you so much for having me on. You know, I feel the same about you. I'm so happy we came into each other's lives, and I know that this is just the beginning for
Yeah,
us.
it is. Definitely.
Yeah, and if you want to connect with me, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, Shannon Malkin Daniels. Same thing on Facebook. Same thing on Twitter and Instagram. I'm Shannon M. Daniels on both of those, all one word, Shannon M. Daniels. And then I also have my business pages you can follow, which is at encaptiv.
Right. And Shannon also does event planning. So if you got some, I guess, and I don't know if I'm okay to say, if they need your services, they can contact you for that too,
Absolutely.
right?
Yep. So we do, we have a technology for virtual, hybrid, and in-person events. So if you're looking for tech for your event, we can help with that. And then we also provide services around it with planning and strategy and production and all of that. I team up with Zeph for all the production because she is just the production live streaming maven.
And Zeph is in the she's in the chat. You can follow her too, because she did leave some comments. So if you want to follow Zeph, and so now there's three of us because we are all working together, and looking forward to coming up with some big things for you. So anyway, God bless you all. Thank you, Shannon, and we will do this again. Okay.
Sounds great. Thank
All
you so
right. Thanks,
much.
everybody. God bless.
Bye.